to Saturday Morning Momentum. This is episode 20. Woo!
Woo!
This is so exciting. We made it to 20 episodes. And we're still going strong. So, welcome everyone, our normal Saturday Morning Momentum crew. Welcome and for joining us and for our 20th episode. I was about to say anniversary. And to anyone who's new to Saturday Morning Momentum and you have no idea what this is about getting stuff done. Just if you have goals, projects, any little thing you want to do that you want to get done, you want to devote an hour to it, and you want to hang out with some amazing women, this is the place to be. I'm just going to say I'm being joined by my lovely friend Lori and Lee and Liz and Jen. We have 3 L's. You know, I just noticed that. Take me to the 20th episode to realize that. Anyway, welcome. And to anyone who's watching this on replay, thank you for watching the replay. We appreciate you doing that. Let us know what you got up to. We like to know. So, lovely ladies, how are you this morning?
Good.
Good. Yay. So how did your week go, Lori?
My week went pretty well. I got some things done. I got everything on my list of intentions for the week except for one thing, which was, I think, vacuuming and cleaning, which, you know, is
mopping.
fine.
It was mopping.
Yeah, mopping. That's right.
But
so
you had a good reason. Tell them your good reason why.
What was my good reason why I did
vacuum? The rain makes no sense to mop.
That's right. You're
vacuum, right. But why mop?
When I couldn't even remember. Why did I get out of that one?
Because look, I got your back on this one.
Thank you, Kat. Yes, the dogs would just track in, you know, wet, muddy paw. In fact, one of my dogs has to walk in the mud puddles. She can't resist. So it's like, but yeah, so I got everything done but that. And I really felt good. I went to my library book sale. So it's all good. It was a good week.
Yay. How about you, Lee?
I had a in between, but I'm feeling good week because I did hit my miles for my Florida Keys challenge. So
Yay.
I'm staying on point with that. My Joshua Bible study, I have 2 more chapters to go, so I'll have that done today. My Atomic Habits I have not gotten back into yet, but it is on my list for today. Awesome. I also want to tell a quick story about how everybody at work says I'm the one that killed Hulk Hogan.
Oh, wait, no, you can't just leave it there.
No, I'm going to tell. Okay. So in another group I'm in, without getting into a whole story, another group I'm in, I just happened to say in the text group, hey, random, Ozzy Osbourne died. He had just had like a farewell tour. He must have known. That was literally all I wrote. Well, people come in with this bashing, and there's a fight. One of the girls leaves the group. Another one's a holy roller. This whole thing happens, right? Oh my God. I'm like, sorry I even made the comment. Like, not going to say anything else. And I'm at work, and I'm telling one of the girls this story. And I go, all I was trying to do was say, in his industry, he was an icon. Whether you liked him or not, he was an icon. It would be like, for me in wrestling, like if Hulk Hogan died. And the next day, Hulk Hogan died. And so they're like, I said, wait, but I said this to the girl. I go, wait, I also said, or Kim Kardashian. So let's see what happens.
Oh
no, not Kim. But so
Lee, if you can manifest that kind of stuff, we all need to give you numbers to manifest for the lottery. I'm telling you.
Everybody's like, come on, because I'm known for, even if somebody comes like to the job, like starts, I'm like, she's got till April 14th. Like, she's done. Like, we're not. And like, it's always on point. Like, she's not lasting the year. Always done. And it always works.
I could always sense when people weren't going to last either. I met Hulk Hogan when I worked at a laundry place in Florida when I lived there as a teenager. Him and the guy who played the Hulk, the first Hulk. I can't remember his name. Yeah, I met both of them. They would bring their laundry in all the time, and they knew my name.
That's cool. That is cool.
So R.I.P.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I was very sad about Ozzy. I will admit, I was very sad about that because
it was Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy, Hulk Hogan.
I know.
My boss at work, our whole generation.
Madsen had died before them,
Yep.
who's played
Like,
in a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies. So that,
Yes.
I know, kind of a bummer. I know they always say it comes in threes kind of thing.
Yes.
So that is, it's kind of weird when that happens. So like when a second person does pass, I'm like, okay, who's going to be next? Please.
Exactly. And it was the next day. You didn't even have to say.
Oh gosh. So how about you, Liz? How has your week been? Your gold star is so big you can't even fit it in your house.
Well, I don't have nearly as interesting a story as Lee. I mean, I think that's great. But no, it was productivity wise, it was a good week. I finally finished my photo project, which has haunted me for, I'm not kidding, 2 decades. I have stared at these boxes and boxes for 2 decades. So I'm very happy that that's done.
Yeah, I am so excited for you because that has been something you've been wanting to do for a while.
Yeah, I actually feel more satisfied doing that than I did finishing my PhD. So just to give the perspective. So
makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
How about you, Jen? How did your week go?
You know what? If you see me on Discord, you know it's not the best time for me right now. My back pain has flared up again, so it looks like I'll be having to go back to the doctor. I've had a shot, but it's just not really letting up. So that, physical pain has thrown me off my game. And then mentally, there's a lot on my plate. I won't get into all of it right now, but it's challenging to parent a daughter, with special needs who's getting about as big as I am. So that takes a physical toll now, and then the mental toll. And then my mom, her Parkinson's is just, she's really deteriorating mentally and physically. So that's pulling at my mental health. So this week I decided to put off any responsibilities or obligations and literally just read, watch movies, color, sit in the chair, try to just let my body rest. I was going to do it just one day, but I realized after doing it just one day how good that was for my mental health. And I was like, let me take a few more days. And then I just took the whole week. I did do a couple of things for Vember, but I didn't do anything that was too taxing on my brain or body. So
yeah, well, that's good. I think that's awesome. I really do. I mean, you recognize that you needed to practice some self-care, and you did it instead of trying to push it through, because we all know how many times we push through something and we really, really should take a step back. And guess what? The world is still moving. It's not falling apart because you decided to take some self-care days. I mean, it's just like when they tell you when you're on a flight and if there's some kind of distress on the flight, you're supposed to put your oxygen mask on before you help the next person, right? So it's the same kind of principle. I had a pretty good week. Having a lot of aha moments and got all of my things done that I wanted to get for this week. Having Liz there, knowing that she was going to hold me accountable for my scrapbook room helped. I mean, I even checked in with her before she could check in with me just to let her know. And I even sent her pictures. So I was like, I said, I am not going to fail at this. And I mean, any little progress is progress, in my opinion. So if it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer, but at least I'm making progress. And that's all that matters. So let's see who is here. We have some people that popped in and said hello because they had to go out and about, but they went ahead and showed our like button. So wasn't that very nice? Michelle was here. And also Michelle dropped her intentions in for the week to drink her apple cider vinegar water every morning, continue organization in the garage before the heat of the day sets in, and start a new Bible plan or study. Are you and Michelle doing your study together, Lee? Or are y'all just...
We're not. I think we're just kind of in sync of like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Oh, that sounds good. Me too. So we're just going back and forth.
And I want to mention that Michelle did sign up for one of the races. I think
she did.
Scooby-Doo race, if I'm not mistaken. Alicia also popped in early to say hello and hug the like button. She and her husband are going to Epic Universe. I hope they have a great time. They were supposed to go on Sunday. She was not supposed to have sprints. And when I was in here doing work, I noticed she popped up and I'm like, what's going on? Her husband got sick and she was so bummed out. So she decided to do sprints to make herself feel better. And she was able to find a very helpful person at Universal who was able to move it to today. And today actually is her husband's birthday. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, so it all worked out, and I hope they have a wonderful time. My friend Catherine Huggett's here. Good morning. And Alexis, good morning. Happy Saturday. And yeah, go ahead and start putting what your intentions are, peeps, in the chat. Tell us what you're going to be up to this morning. Of course, I'll do that, and then I got lost where I was at. Alexis says my intentions for the week are 2 out of 3, or 2/3 complete, due to my last one's tomorrow's event. Okay. Do y'all understand that? Okay. My intentions for the week are
complete 2 because the third one is tomorrow, so she'll do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Run 3 times a week, post Pango books, and attend live chat for butchering art. Nice. Hello, Eleanor. Easing into the morning with coffee and a book to read. Nice. Of course, Lori's telling all our friends hello. Good morning, Andy. And good morning, Jen. I'm making a cup of coffee and going to work on some lesson planning for September. Ooh, you getting a jump start on that. And Jamie says, good morning, all. It's very early this morning. I was up way too late finishing the Buffalo Hunter. Curious to see what your final thoughts are on that, because there are people who are on like really two sides of the fence. Either they didn't like it and didn't give a good score, or they gave it, Stephen Graham Jones a favorable score. So I'm curious because I haven't read it yet. Good morning, Chris Wildfire. And good morning. Good for you, Jen, for taking care of yourself. Yep. And can you use your powers for good and the group?
If I could figure it out, I will.
Yeah. And to Jamie, she's asking how it was. I really need to read that one. I read Night of the Mannequins yesterday for July Noir. I read Night of the Mannequins for Summerween. It was weird. I really loved it. Highly recommend the audiobook if you get it. Sounds good and good to know. So Esther Jane is here. Hello, Esther Jane. For me, my goals are getting back on track for eating. I had a very bad few weeks and it shows. So back on track, I hope. Sometimes the ice cream just tastes so good.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. Stacy's here. Hello. I just tried to do some curly hair routine for my youngest who has special needs. We will see how much this helps with her curls. Excellent. And hello, Swank. Happy World Tofu Day, Holistic Therapy Day, and happy All or Nothing Day.
All or nothing. Okay.
All or nothing. Catherine's getting her workout done this morning, then moving to clean my workout run. Very good. Very good. And hello, Carissa. How are you? I was going to say Catherine Huggett's a health coach. So she does a lot with health and fitness and eating properly. Yeah. For this week, continue on my exercise program on week 7, starting Monday, finish my jog walk challenge 3 times a week. Excellent. Then I'm proud I finished my pantry clean out from last week, moving to the workout room today. Boy, that is good. I need to clean my pantry out, but that's going to be something way down the line. Heidi thinks that both Buffalo Hunter and Teenage Slasher are both great reads. And for this Power Hour, I'll be reading my current read, Breathe In, Bleed Out. And I can see that it's not for everyone, but I loved it. Very good. Well, that makes me feel good about it. I happen to love Stephen Graham Jones. His writing is different. I have to say it's probably the most different of anyone I've ever read. But I like it. I don't know why. I mean, it takes some getting used to, I guess. I can see how he's not for everybody, but I don't know. I'm not really big into stream of consciousness. Like Virginia Woolf would drive me crazy with that. But it's almost like he's got stream of consciousness mixed in with his writing style, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't drive me as crazy as Virginia Woolf did. I don't know why. Nice work to Catherine. And my goal this week is to walk 5 days this week. Very good. But what are you doing right now?
That's right.
Good. It's been a slow morning. Yeah. Mornings can be tough, especially on the weekend. So what are you going to be up to, Lori, since your plans got changed today?
Yeah, I'm back to the book journal today. I'm going to see if I can make a little more progress there because it's sitting here. It's been sitting here all week. So I'll just pick it back up.
I mean, you've been busy doing other stuff.
I have. Yes. It's a good week.
What about you, Lee?
I am going to be motivated by a comment, and I'm going to start working on some finance and debt stuff just to sort myself out.
Very good. Okay, Liz.
Oh, I actually like that idea, Lee. I should probably do that instead. I think probably what I'm going to wind up doing is I put it off long enough, but start looking at the syllabi for the coming academic semester.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
nice. Very nice. I mean, you got to start getting those wheels turning about what to do, even though you really don't want to. And how about you, Jen? What are you going to do?
I am going to be taking notes to get ready for a YouTube video about a night film by Marissa Pessel. I've been working on it for a while, but I'd like to get the video this week. And I'm sorry I had to keep going off camera and like muting, but Karma is a terror. I love her, but she's so bad. She keeps getting in the garbage. I kept having to get her out of the garbage. And then she was going over there trying to fight Poe in the corner. So it's just like,
not Poe, not Poe.
Yeah, I'm have to tell her, don't you know the story of the black cat? You better leave him alone.
Oh my gosh. Yes, please. You don't want to end up like the black cat. Okay, so for me, what I'm doing, I planned on Friday like I was supposed to, and I wrote my to-do list for yesterday. So I have to clean this office. I have got to get the stuff off of this desk because it's just piling up. So I'm moving books out of here and putting them where they need to be. So that's what I'm doing for Power Hours, cleaning this office because I can't take it anymore. I don't want to die in my office like I will in my closet. So before we go on our Power Hour, Margaret is here. Hello, Margaret. And Carissa says she's going to continue. She's currently working on her sweater. So that means you're crocheting it. Give highs to Margaret. And also she's going to be listening to a Torch Against the Night or A Touch Against the Night by Sabah Tahir.
Yeah.
And Jamie is going to plan to take a shower and get to work on a plan for the day. I have a haircut later. Nice. And good morning, Tina. I'll be listening to the Republic of Thieves this morning. And also Heidi gave a little tip about, she said, unfortunately, my self-care is eating, but trying very hard not to buy the culprits like Mountain Dew or cookies. Fruit, but not the same. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes you end up getting the good thing and then you still cave into the bad thing. Like for me, Doritos. I don't know what it is about Doritos, but I shouldn't even go down the aisle when I go to Target because I will eat my Doritos from the time I leave Target to my house. It's terrible to admit that. And then when I get home, it's done. It's like I don't want them anymore. Chris Wildfire says, I'm working on figuring out how to create a content planner. Anyone have any tips? And Carissa says, I'm making so many spelling errors. No, that's fine. Content, anybody have content planner tips? If so, please put them in the Discord for Chris Wildfire. That's Christy Starr in Discord. If y'all think of anything that y'all want to share. I really don't have I don't have any tips on it. I'm not good with content planning. I like fly by the seat of my pants usually. I mean, I know I'm going to be doing things because of readathons and all that, but cannot plan ahead with that because half the time if I put something on a plan, I can't get to it because of life. So I give up.
I use an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, I keep it very basic, but I know Canva has some free templates that people can use.
Ooh.
I love Canva.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Canva, and they do have a free version if you haven't signed up for that. Swank says she's going to continue with her self-help book. And Alexis says Plan with Lakin has a good content planner process. She does batch planning. Thank you, Alexis. We appreciate that. And also, Lori put in, I have a small content journal that I use. I have months laid out for hauls, reading, TBR, anticipated reads. I also track buddy reads there. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go to Power Hour because we all have lots to do. Let me do this instead. Let me see if I can get this clock on first. Okay, now I can start. There we go. Okay.
All right.
Make sure all the ducks in a row. Okay, happy Power Hour. Meow. Welcome back. That hour flew. Flew today. I got stuff done, but still so much to do. Golly. Like when I have to like make piles of my books, I feel like so overwhelmed. I'm like, Jesus, where am I going to put all this? Well, I'm gonna have to make a category because I started buying graphic novels, and I don't want to put that just in general pop. I mean, I don't know. My biggest dilemma is how to organize my personal library because there's so many different ways you can do it, and I don't know which way I like it the best. So I know it all depends on me, but I just feel like there's so many great ways. But anyway, so how'd you do, Lori?
I'm just going to say you can always do it one way and then change your mind and do it another.
I know.
Which I have done. I did well. I'm on June. So
Yay.
close to July, which will soon be August. So I think
that's awesome. You're doing so well. I'm doing terrible with Goodreads. I'm not going to tell you what Liz told me to do, but that's going to be part of my challenge in August. I will tell you.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. I got to clear the decks and just be done with it. How about you, Lee? How did you do?
I did good again. I feel the same way you did. Like I got a good start going, but there's so much more to do. So I checked out. It's basically was that like, what reality am I really looking at? So I had to kind of set that up, set up a chart of things, rearrange a little bit of a budget, and then start to create a debt payoff plan. There's not actually anything on it. It was just getting all of that information on there. Because, when you haven't looked at something for so long or you just put it off, that's where I was at. So just in that beginning stage, but I needed that to get started. So it went well.
Yeah, I love the whole financial thing. That's something else I want to do myself. Ever since Ashley sent that video with the envelope system in Discord, it's like that's in the back of my mind. But I have to be careful because that's part of the reason why I don't get as much accomplished is I want to try to take it all on at one time. And so what ends up happening is nothing gets done because I overwhelm myself. So I have to be patient, about the process. So Liz, how about you?
Well, I flopped. I answered a work email and then ate a giant cinnamon bun. And I'm not saying they're related, and I'm not saying they're not related. So that's all I got.
So the cinnamon bun was kind of like a coping mechanism.
It was delicious.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay, Jen, how did you do?
I got a fair amount of notes taken. I could have gotten more, and I'm so sorry that Karma's a distraction, but I tried to put her out of here and shut the door, and she is a Velcro cat. I mean, literally, she is attached to me constantly. So she's sticking her paws under the door and whining and crying. So then I have to let her in, but I did get some good headway on my notes, and I just feel glad that my brain can focus enough. I have a lot more notes to take because Night Film is an interesting book, and there's a lot to say about it. So it's just going to take some time to do the review justice. But I'm glad I could at least focus for a little while, despite Karma.
Yeah, cats are relentless. I mean, people think dogs are, but cats can be too. I mean, they just won't let up, and they want their way. It's funny. They have their little personalities. Everybody thinks that they are just, aloof and don't really want to, hang out with you unless it's on their terms. But it all depends on the personality of the cat because, yeah.
I had to laugh when I saw her on your shoulder and then she dropped off. I was like, she looked like a little caterpillar falling off.
Right. She looks like a jumping spider sometimes when she's on the floor because she'll do her back up and then she hops off to the side. I'm like, you look like a little jumping spider.
Well, I mean, like I said, I made piles. Something I had an aha moment while I was doing my scrapbooking room is I'm terrible. I mean, I don't know how I got to this stage in life and just realized this, but what's terrible is I'll find something and I know it belongs somewhere else. So instead of it putting it to the side and bringing everything that belongs to that space, I go bring that one thing to the space. So then it's a back and forth thing. And then what usually happens is I go to that space and then I try to look, put it somewhere in there. And then I'm like, well, I really don't have space right there. So then I start doing whatever in that space. So then before you know it, I haven't really made much progress. So I told Liz this with the scrapbooking room, I'm going to make piles. So like when I have all my like pieces and parts of paper, my ephemera, if you want to call it that, instead of me pulling out my scrapbook, carrier thing that I have and putting each little individual as I find it, I'm just going to make piles. And so that's what I did with the books. I made piles according to where they need to go, so I figure that will be more productive than me going and putting a book each time I find one. Oh my gosh. So I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but anyway.
Got your steps in.
Yeah, well, I do get steps in, that's true. Margaret had made this comment for Chris Wildfire right when we were leaving for our power hour, a content plan and tip. I have 4 basic topics that I try to cover each month, but if I don't feel like doing one of them, I give myself an out of a unique idea and then add on a wrap up every second Wednesday. That's a great idea, Margaret. Margaret's very organized.
Yes.
4 topics are a tag, author related, readathon related, and TRC, my year-long readathon I co-host on climate change. Yeah, Margaret has it very organized on her channel, and she, has her sprints like the first Friday and I think the last Friday of the month. And another thing that Margaret does is Margaret doesn't do a whole lot of sit down type videos. She does a lot of her content live, which does help with, editing and all that. So that's another good idea for content. So Chris was thanking everyone. Alexis made it to 77% off to run for my running plan, 6 miles. Thank you for the motivation today. I think I will rewatch this later to do my MM routine I made. Anybody know what MM is? My friend's calling me. He's probably calling me to tell me how his date went. What is MM routine?
Something, I don't know.
I was thinking it was Motivation Monday, but I could be
or
wrong.
Maybe morning momentum or
yeah.
Okay. And then that's a great way. I appreciate anybody that goes back and rewatches our, Saturday morning momentum. That means a lot. Jen said that hour went fast. I agree. I didn't do any actual lessons, but I do have a plan of attack, which has been my biggest hurdle. Yeah, sometimes just getting started and knowing how to approach a project. And I totally understand that with lesson planning because it's like, where do you start? Another thing about starting early on lesson planning is that you don't know what they're going to throw at you at those first couple of meetings at the beginning of the school year. It would never fail. They would invite somebody, at least at my school, and they would have this new kind of program thing. It's like, why did you not introduce this to us in May? Like, I would have rather you tell me this in May, even though I was brain dead in May. I'd rather you have said this in May so that I could incorporate it before school started instead of now I have my plan and now I have to figure out how to incorporate this. So that's just my personality. I don't like being thrown curveballs when you already planned everything because teachers know the lesson planning process is time consuming. And that hour did you. I got 300 words, which is pretty good. Excellent, Stacy. Took a shower, fed the cats, made a start on the plan for the week. I'm leaving next Saturday for Denver to visit my son and grandkids for a week. That is awesome. Love that.
hot, dry heat. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, Jamie, maybe you know. I mean, I know we're getting into August. I know when I went to Denver, I mean, this was when I was like in 6th grade or something like that. I remember us going in June and there was still snow up in the top of the mountains. So I wonder, as the summer progresses, is the snow still up there? It's amazing to me how Colorado is, because even when I went to visit in April, it was nice 70-ish. And then when you rode up into the mountains, it was like 30 degrees. I was like, craziness. So I don't know if that's still the same with like July and August, or has all the snow melted by that point.
I don't know.
Jordan's here. Just thought I'd come in and say hello because I have a moment. And Carissa, I think your name is... Don't worry about the spelling errors. You'll learn. You'll get there.
Wow.
Sweet. So sweet. And hey, more cats are good. I agree. And Jen, I feel your pain. I got one of those Velcro kitties too. Swank red. Excellent. My comment shot up. Good morning, Courtney. And Eleanor read 30 pages in, is it Diavola? Is that how you pronounce it? Or Diavola? How do you pronounce it? Did you read that book?
I didn't. I always say Diavola, but that could be totally wrong too. But I don't know.
Yeah, that probably makes more sense. And plan to finish it this weekend. Thank you for the momentum. Well, thank you for being here, Eleanor. And hi, Jamie. I can't stay, but wanted to stop by and say hi. We appreciate that. Thank you. And I need to redo my books, but it will be such a mess to do. I have over 700 physical copies. Yeah, physical books over 3 rooms. Yeah, I totally understand, Stacy.
It's a lot.
And Tina made some much wanted progress with her audiobook. Excellent. Good morning, Leslie. How are you? And me and my friend, because this is something I used to struggle with, that if I had a routine and the routine wants to change, I'll get mad and angry. Yeah, that sometimes happens. You get frustrated. She'll eventually get there. It just takes time. It's just a process. It's frustrating. Yes, I agree, Jordan. I'm also teaching a class I haven't taught since 2020. So my stuff needs a big revamp, plus my 2 regular classes. Yikes. And for those of you that don't know, Jen is also going back to school to be a librarian. I mean, specialist, within the school system. And she should be getting her scores soon. I'm very excited for Jen. So anyway, it seems like everybody did really well. Guys, help me curious, because a question I have for you is, if you guys are educators, teachers, readers, and such, do you have children start blind or visually impaired, and how do you help them? I'm assuming he's saying. Jordan is blind. He does have a channel. Jordan, I have not ever had a visually impaired student in all my years of teaching. So I can't answer that. I do know that they do have special programs within public school that possibly would be able to accommodate a visually impaired or blind student. Jen, did you ever encounter that when you were teaching?
I didn't when I was teaching, but my youngest daughter, Renna, she is also visually impaired. She's totally blind in her right eye, and she has minimal vision in her left. Of course, she has a lot of other physical and mental needs too, but she does attend a local school that's designed specifically for students with significant special needs, and that is through the public school system. So I'm not sure, how they would in regular public schools work with visually impaired children, but I know they should have programs.
Yeah, I would think so. Also, Liz, have you ever encountered?
Well, I don't teach children, so I'm not exactly sure the services that would be offered. But I know most libraries will have things like readers or different accessibility technology.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if Jen wants to weigh in Pages in Chaos, because she is a high school teacher, so she's not teaching at the lower level. But she may in her teaching career at some point. Good question, Jordan. And Stormy's here. Hello. I had to get up early this morning to mow before it got hot, but man, it was still hot. Yeah, you sound like Alex. Alex popped in Wednesday on sprints and she had just finished mowing the lawn. Yeah, it's just not. It's either super hot out there or it's raining and then it's muggy and then you can't cut your grass. So did your guy get to cut the grass, Lori?
He did. And yeah, because I got a text from Lisa saying you need to Venmo Kenny. And so he's done. He's a whiz. I'm telling you. I don't know how he does it, but he does it and it looks great. So
oh, that's awesome.
I feel bad, Stormy, because we just pay him in the summer. We do it in the winter, which happens, how many times do you have to actually mow in the winter, right? Maybe 5 times. Yeah. So, but he's wonderful. And he has a little boy who helps him. And so he gets a little extra money too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Ben says, don't remind me 4 more days. Well, we're rooting for you. We're rooting for you.
Yeah.
And then Jamie says, I'm pretty sure there are places high in the mountains that have snow most of the year. I could be wrong with global warming. Who knows anymore? Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was going to say we have a school for the deaf and blind, which is affiliated with the public school. So there's no tuition paid. And so they go into school for their regular classroom for a part of the day. And then they go to the school for the deaf and blind for a part of the day. The problem with it, though, is that there's a bit of transportation for some school districts. So they lose time of learning. So they try to make sure that it's, and so there, I guess as somebody told me the other day, they're thinking, I have a friend who works with deaf children, and she said they're trying to figure out how they can make this so that they're in class with the deaf and blind school 1 day or 2 days, and then in the regular class for 3, because they want them to have the socialization of children who are not hearing and reading impaired or sight impaired. But yeah, it's pretty nice, I would say, what they're doing for them. But I don't know about you guys, but for us, like my grandkids started school yesterday. Some of our school districts are moving into all year. So they're compressing the year so that next year they'll be all year school. And they're happy enough because they really like it. And, they were ready to get away from their mom every day because she works at home. But they're happy. They're both happy. Nobody cried. But but it's
so hot. It's like I just
so hot.
Imagine being in school, like being on carpool duty for me right now would be like, because it's terrible when we would start in August, and then even when you would get to May. I mean, it's
and you take them out to recess, and they come back wet.
Well, not only that, they're tired. They're tired because they're so hot. And then the air conditioners, like where I taught, we didn't have central air and heat. It was like a unit. And those units struggle. They can't keep up. And then you bring all those hot bodies into the room and everybody is like ready to take a nap.
Yep.
They don't want to listen to anything about literature at that point. Jen says, I haven't had visually impaired students, but I've had hearing impaired, and we use amplifying devices and tech like that.
Yeah.
Good. And Jordan says, similar to me and my friends, because I want to go outside in a few moments and do some gardening and hopefully get stuff done. My strawberries are starting to produce fruit again. Well, that is awesome. I love strawberries. Yeah. Okay, so what are our intentions for this upcoming week? Some of our friends have put this in earlier, but what are your intentions for this week, Lori?
So since I went to the book fair yesterday at my library and I got a bunch of books, one of them ended up being a duplicate, and I, of course, didn't realize I had it. So I have one shelf, which is one of those big shelves that I have in my house, but I have one shelf left to scan. So this week I'm going to, it's not like it's cost me a bunch of money, but I'm going to scan this week so that I don't buy books that I already own, because sometimes I do that. So I'm going to try to get that done. And then I'm going to go on to module 5 of my training, because I completed module 4 last week. So that was good. I know, I'm really moving around.
So excited.
I'm going to try to get caught up on my book journal this week. So I'm in August, hopefully, to begin. And then I'm going to read a book for my book club. My friends and I have The Attic Child to read, and it's soon that our book club is. So I need to get on it.
Yeah.
I need to get on it.
And that.
Yeah.
How about you, Lee? What are you going to do this week?
I have a thing I'm calling non-negotiables just to get my month done. And that would be a couple Bible studies, a credit card payment, the Instacart that I still have not done. I need to just get out of my own way, and a couple books that I want to read or catch up on for the month and some challenges I have going on. So.
Right. And then you and I will have to touch base at some point to see when we want to do our buddy read.
That's for August. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I got you.
Okay. How about you, Liz?
Let's see. This week, I would like to read at least 2 books related to finance. So if anyone has good suggestions related to investing, especially for like a very, very newbie, someone who doesn't know anything, because that would be me, or retirement, I would love suggestions. I also want to, you're talking about Hulk Hogan kind of made me think this. I think I have a pretty extensive like vintage WWF collection from like the 80s. And I think I'm ready to part with that. So I would like to get all that up on eBay, I think.
I feel like now would be a great time to do that, especially because people are feeling that right now.
Yeah, that's probably, and I've been looking at it and I'm like, why I don't need this, and nobody in my life will want this when I am no longer here. So it's, yeah. But other than that, I don't know. Maybe clean out my closet, or I don't know.
It's nice that you're intentionally looking at your collections to see if it's still sparking joy, because that's what Marie Kondo would say. She would be like, does this item still spark joy for you? If it's not, then you need to give it to someone or sell it or whatever you're going to do for someone else to have that joy. And I think that's what I'm coming to realize about my books. Like there's some books I don't want to part with just because they are my favorite authors, or I had a really powerful connection with what was written. But at the end of the day, if I know I'm not going to reread the book, I would much rather give it to someone else so that they can enjoy it, and then just keep passing it on. And, that's what I used to do with my middle grade books. I would get so many middle grade books through Scholastic, and, a lot of them were free books, and I'd read them and I would pass them along to the teacher, one of the junior high teachers in school. It's like I didn't have to keep it, so it's like, I don't know why I need to do that better with my book. So I'm just going to start making piles. And if I think people will enjoy them, I'll ask first. If not, then I'll donate them to the Friends of the Library store.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm so excited. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I kind of took like my cell phone and I just made videos of everything. And then I sent it to the people who I thought might be interested in it, either now or, after I'm gone. And that was very eye-opening. So what people wanted was not what I thought they would want versus. So if you're struggling with that, that might be an option.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been like looking at books and thinking, am I ever going to reread that? There was one this morning, and I won't like get rid of it immediately. I'll let it sit in my mind for a little bit, but then it's like, then it goes in the pile. But we are so lucky. We have a little free library in our neighborhood. So I'm able to, in fact, last week there was a little bit of a scandal. Somebody came and took too many books, this woman thought, and then made a mess of the little free library. So I had books to put in it anyway. So I went down and tidied it up and, showed them a picture that it was all okay. I even organized adult and children, so the 2 shelves would be different.
Oh, that was awesome.
I don't think that's going to stay that way for a while, but it made me happy.
You did your part. There you go.
The little free libraries are great. They really are.
I think so too. There's one in Hammond, and that's another place that I can go bring some books. When I go into Hammond weekly or whatever, just stop and put some books in there if I want to. I personally love to send people or like give books to people I know, just because it just brings me a lot of joy to know that a friend of mine or someone I know will enjoy that book, especially if I can pair it with the right person. And it's a second layer of joy when the person says, hey, I read that book and it was either good or what. It didn't even have to be like it was great for them, like it was for me or whatever. But you get like a double dose,
Yeah.
I'm always looking for joy anytime I can get it.
Double good.
So how about you, Jan? What are you going to do? What are you going to try to do this week?
Yeah, I am going to finish taking notes for night film and film that video. And there are a couple of other books I'd like to do longer reviews for. I'm really struggling lately with wrap ups because I just sometimes I read a book, it's fine. I don't really want to talk a lot about it. And then some of the books I read, I really do want to talk a lot about. And I feel like if I'm doing a quick wrap up, I'm not doing the book justice. So I'm trying to kind of think about how I want to do that. I can't do deep dives in every book, but, just going to do them for a few books. And then other than that, I've decided at this point till Rena gets back in school to not worry about the slides. I have until October for my presentation. Of course, I'll need to turn some stuff in like toward the end of August. But she goes back to school August the 11th, so I'll have time. And as far as trying to get a website figured out, that's also something I'm going to do once she gets back in school, because that's too much that I put on myself to do while she's here every day. And I'm the only one here with her till my husband gets home 6, 7, whenever at night. So I'm just going to focus on some YouTube planning and filming, and the other stuff can wait until August 11th.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was also I've been realizing is I always think of myself as not being a good time manager, and I don't think that's the case. I think part of the issue is I'm a poor planner. I'll put down everything that I have to do for my week, but I end up not like trying to plan to do something on a day that, like I'm planning, say Thursday, I know I'm going to go somewhere in the morning and it's going to take me hours, but I might also plan that I'm going to do some kind of an activity that's going to be like taxing. Well, what ends up happening is when I get home from that appointment, say the appointment's even longer than it was supposed to be. That happens a lot of times with doctor's appointments. I get home, I'll eat lunch or whatever the case may be. Well, I don't have the energy level to do that. So then I feel like, okay, well, there goes my plan. Well, it's not that I'm not using my time wisely. It's just I didn't plan my time correctly. So on a day that I know that I'm not going anywhere, that's the day to tackle like my scrapbook room or whatever. I have to be realistic with that. So I like how you were, saying like if you know that you're not going to be able to focus or do whatever it is that you need to do, then don't plan that activity on that day. I'm trying to get better at that. So if anything that this month-long Jumpstart July has taught me is I'm having these aha moments of, it may take you a little longer to get to some of these things that you want to do, but it's planning it correctly.
Yeah.
At the correct time to do it, energy level, as well as, having enough time to actually do something with it. So I like hearing that. Jamie also popped in and said that she's excited to see your review of the night film because she loved that book. And talking about wrap-ups, I'm going to say this really briefly. I hated doing wrap-ups. I felt like you read all month and then you get to the end and you're trying to write all this stuff. And I would try to keep notes. Sometimes I was great at it, sometimes not. And then you have to sit there and film all the stuff of what you're wrapping up. So I thought about doing it where I would wrap up every time I finish with a book and then just kind of, combine it. Well, it's funny because Lee did a wrap up and she was like that. She did a couple of books and then she filmed on another day to talk about some other books. And I was like, see, so I'm not the only one that had that idea, but I kind of like that. My only issue is like storage. Having the storage to keep those clips together until it's time to do the editing. That's my struggle is I have to have a better way of having enough storage for that. Yeah. But that might be something you could think about too, is if maybe you want to do like a couple of books at a time, or maybe you do a video of the wrap up of the ones that you don't have a lot to say and then do individual ones. It's a struggle. The wrap up business is a struggle for me. I was telling him, Lee, I don't know if you heard me about one of your last wrap ups. You kind of did it in parts. Like you didn't do a whole wrap up at one time. And that was something I had given thought about doing. So I love the way you executed that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I was going to give a tip before. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's one thing I do is I just do the wrap up right then and there. So I don't have to think about it at the end of the month when I've probably already forgotten half the details.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a book I'm not that crazy about, or I don't remember the details, something I do is let me read you guys what it's about, and I'll read it to you. And then I'll just kind of give you my summary opinions on what the book said it was about.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's just my way of like, I didn't really even care about this book. Let me just tell you, and then go, yeah, and this and that, or whatever. You just make your comments. And then when you have the book you're passionate about and you love it, then you can go into really giving your details about that one.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good idea.
Yeah. I just, yeah, because that's one reason. It's like, it's just was so like, I don't know. I just didn't like doing them. I got to the point where I didn't want to do them anymore. Stacy said most of the local schools here have been rebuilt, so they have AC. So I suspect we'll be going to year round soon. The kids have been going back a week earlier every 5 years or so. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It goes earlier and earlier as well. Jordan was thanking Janet Pages and Chaos for her answer. And oh, Lori, you need to get LibBib. I love it just so I can see if I have a book already. It's so nice if just for that reason. And I looked at
LibBib.
Yes,
I have LibBib. I highly recommend it. It's free. I have 600 books in there so far, and I don't know how many more, but it makes it so much easier to not. I did duplicate at the library because the one I duplicated was not on the, it wasn't scanned yet. It's on the shelf that wasn't scanned yet, which is what is the impetus for me to get that scanned. But yeah, I think one out of all of them is not too bad.
right.
But
it could have been worse.
That's right. It could have been worse. Yeah. So fast too.
So Courtney was reading a quick graphic novel called Fangs. And every time I go into a secondhand store, I just have an app open as soon as I walk in.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Swank is going to keep working on her to-do list this week. And I'm trying to go through the comments related to what we are doing right here. I know Jordan's saying a lot about Jordan, I'm not trying to ignore you. It's just we're on a time constraint, and we're trying to get in what everybody's going to be doing for this upcoming week. I wanted to create my own Braille comic book store for my own Braille library because in Ireland, they're trying to stop making more Braille books and do a lot of online or a technology. And I don't agree with that because I'm a tactile reader and I love the feel of the docs on the page and the feel of the book because in my opinion, it's a form of therapy for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I do too much and I overwork myself, and it's because I have so much energy. I'm a hard worker and I like to succeed in what I do. And that is awesome. You get a gold star for that, Jordan. And hopefully they don't go all to like online and technology because that is something the tactile I would think would be very important for someone who is blind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my opinion. As for myself, I am wrapping up Jumpstart July. This will be my last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about doing an August challenge just because I have some things that I think I just like having the challenge aspect of it. It kind of keeps me motivated and I can switch up what I'm kind of doing. So I'm thinking about coming up with some August challenge ideas at the beginning of the week. Of course, August 1st is Friday of next week, which is also my baby's birthday.
Oh.
And he's going to be 24. So excited about that. I want to finish my scrapbook room so I can actually scrapbook. So, and what I mean by that is I want to get to a point where I can get to everything I need to get to actually scrapbook. And I'll just have to work on those piles and things a little bit at a time. I don't want to be another whole month before I get through it. So I'd rather it be something where maybe I can listen to music or listen to someone, on YouTube or whatever while I'm trying to put all that kind of stuff away, or listen to an audiobook. I can, putting scraps of paper away, I can concentrate on an audiobook or a podcast or something like that. So that's my 3 things, is just wrapping up July, thinking about August, and getting that scrapbook room finished so I can actually start scrapbooking in August. Because I've got to scrapbook at least 25 times before the end of the year.
We can do it.
I'm hoping so. Anyway, I am so excited that we were able to be here again on another Saturday together. I appreciate you ladies so very much. And I appreciate everyone that came to hang out with us. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend first. Just be safe if you're having any kind of adventures, and have a wonderful week ahead. Let us know if you're having any stumbling blocks in the Discord. Maybe we can, come up with some ideas to help you out. Or if you have a stumbling block, I love when people have a stumbling block and then they solve the problem. Lee, you had one and you were able to conquer that stumbling block. And I love seeing that, because sometimes when you see how a person works out that process, it kind of helps you if you encounter a stumbling block. What's another way I could have done it? Or if you needed anybody, support, whatever, reach out, even if it's through a DM, let us know if you just need to vent or whatever the case may be. That is what we're here for. So until next week, episode 21, just have a great day, everyone. Bye.